The dystopian wasteland you're looking at isn't Gaza, although much like Gaza, the devastating destruction on the screen was caused by the Israelis. This is southern Lebanon, where the Israelis also slaughtered Indonesian peacekeepers. Israel now claims ownership of the land, which conveniently, Cenk, includes a Lebanese gas field. Your 2 cents.
Yeah, so as you're gonna see here, they're destroying about 70 villages, including Christian ones. But we're not allowed to complain. Christians and Muslims must accept their slaughter, and if you don't, you'll be called an anti-Semite by our press. So you're gonna see here the unbelievable atrocities that Israel's doing in Lebanon. And so don't listen to any junk news outlet that doesn't actually cover the news. We're gonna give you the real news from Lebanon and show you the true face of the monsters running Israel.
So reporting from the Cradle and the Jerusalem Post confirmed that Israel has drawn a so-called yellow line, much like they did in Gaza, separating a massive swath of southern Lebanon that they intend to annex and keep under their control. It'll now be part of Greater Israel, of course. Weird how the Greater Israel Project keeps coming up, but people deny that it even exists. Anyway, so according to the Israeli army, the 10-kilometer zone includes 55 towns and villages in southern Lebanon. However, you should remember that if an Israeli is speaking, they're lying, because Lebanese researcher Ahmad Baidoun revealed that the area covers approximately 70 Lebanese villages, not 55. And it's more than the 55 villages reported by the Israeli media, adding that the zone includes towns known to still be inhabited, the Christian villages of Ramish, Debel, Ain Ebel, and the Sunni town of Sheba. So for those of you who allowed yourselves to be brainwashed into thinking that the real problem in this globe is it's the dangerous Muslims, right? Like the Israelis they're not worried about Christians. They treat Christians with respect. No, they'll slaughter the Christians and they'll smear them. Now, it's a little more difficult to smear the Christians here in the United States because the majority of religious people in the United States happen to be Christian. But they have taken full advantage of the fact that there's a Muslim minority here in the United States. So for decades, they've effectively smeared Muslims as dangerous extremists that are worthy of slaughter. But in this case, we're talking about Lebanon, super diverse country that has a sizable Christian population. They're getting slaughtered too. So what happens to these villages? Israel openly declared its intentions to destroy entire towns and villages. Defense Minister Israel Katz recently said in a statement that the residents of these towns would not be allowed to return.
That is because they are stealing their land and their homes, the homes they lived in. They're going in and saying, your home is now mine.
Yeah.
Israel owns it now. And if you come back here to your home where you lived, where your bedroom is, where your kid's bedroom is, where you watch TV together, we're gonna murder you. We're gonna take your home either way. The only question is, to what degree we murder and torture you? We finance all of this terrorism by Israel.
So to get a sense of what Israel does to these villages, and to civilians, let's take a look at this video. Let's keep my mic up and I'll explain it. So this video was shared by a journalist on the ground, a woman that I actually interviewed on the show, Courtney Bonneau. It features the Israeli destruction of the town of Aitarun, which the IDF is currently illegally occupying. They've bombed homes and other civilian infrastructure during the ceasefire and continue to do so. So there's supposed to be a ceasefire happening right now. And this is some of the destruction that just happened in southern Lebanon. And if you look at the map that the Israelis shared, right? The IDF actually posted this map on social media. It shows how much land they intend to steal, and it's pretty significant. The part that's highlighted in red is the part that they intend to steal. And I'm sure you can notice that the genocidal lunatics that were forced to fund even highlighted areas beyond the southern Lebanese coast and into the ocean. So that includes a Lebanese gas field.
Of course it does.
So let's talk about that gas field for a second, because I'm noticing that there is some deception in the way this is reported about, and even the Israeli press. So here's what's going on. Open source researcher who I referred to earlier, Ahmad Baidoun, noted that the IDF's new maritime boundary fully absorbs Lebanon's Kana gas field, whose exploration rights were explicitly guaranteed under the 2022 US-backed maritime border agreement to Lebanon. Okay, now the field was previously estimated to contain up to 100 billion cubic meters of gas, with projected value estimates ranging from 20 to 40 billion dollars.
Self-defense. Now they had to take the $40 billion for self-defense.
Now Israel, as this tiny, irrelevant country, really has nothing to offer when it comes to natural resources, right? Which is why they steal natural resources from other countries. They're likely going to steal this gas field that we're talking about right now. Now, in 2023, an international consortium consisting of Total Energies and other major firms began drilling the field, okay? Lebanese officials were then informed that no commercially viable gas was found in the field, right? And this is what the media seems to be harping on. Like, well, they did an exploration and they found there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Okay, except, as the Jerusalem Post reports, that was in an area of the gas field known as Block 9. As Baidoun says, the more interesting issue is Block 8, which is beyond the map, which Total Energies wants to explore, meaning they haven't explored the entire gas field, and it's very, very likely that it does actually contain natural resources that the Israelis desperately want. In fact, Dunya Basol, who's a PhD student at Bar Ilan University, says the following. This is an Israeli, by the way. Israel's new forward security zone in Lebanon isn't purely military. Look at the maps. It includes the Kana gas field. That's not incidental. Even wealthy states have to finance their wars, and gas fields help. If the occupation of this zone is meant to last, and it increasingly looks that way, Kana is an obvious way to fund it. So that's happening, that's going on. Netanyahu and his group of demons slammed Lapid's 2022 deal with Lebanon, by the way, granting them control over this gas field. But expecting Israelis to abide by their own agreements and promises is a fool's errand. Since the ceasefire earlier this month, for instance, ceasefire usually means two sides agree to cease fire. Israeli troops have remained deployed in the south, continuously rigging whole neighborhoods with explosives while filming the demolitions and publishing them online because they're very proud of what they're doing. Sadly, the Lebanese government consists of fools. I'm not talking about Hezbollah. Hezbollah is really the only line of defense the Lebanese people have. And I mean that with my whole chest. The Lebanese government seems to be full of Israeli puppets or individuals who serve as puppets for the Israelis. Now, what do I mean by that? Joe El-Khoury, who is the Lebanese Minister of Industry, made some interesting statements recently, Cenk. I want to read them to you. Here's what he had to say. This was from a few days ago, April 15th. There are two notions that we, meaning the Lebanese, need to accept from now on. The first is that Israel exists. Of course, that's the most important thing in the world.
Oh my God, Israel doesn't exist. Oh, it's gotta exist.
The second,
it already exists.
I know.
Shut the hell up about it.
The second is that we need to shift from a culture of war to a culture of peace. Enough, the Lebanese people cannot take it anymore. I'm sorry, which culture is the culture of war? Which culture is the culture of war? But let me continue with what else he said. What is the price? That Hezbollah will have to surrender its weapons to the government? We welcome such a price. Bitch, you guys don't know how to defend your own freaking country. What are you talking about? Finally, he says, the narrative that the Israelis aspire to establish the greater Israel, which will include a part of Lebanon, is a false narrative.
So this guy's being paid by the Israelis.
100%. Is a false narrative. It is a thing of the past. People who peddle this narrative are trying to justify keeping their weapons away from the control of state.
Hey, Joe, or whatever your actual name is, the Israelis just published a map saying they're gonna take portions of Lebanon and your gas field. So what happened now? No, guys, Israel's gonna get one thing that they want for sure, which is they wanted massive chaos in the Middle East. So another civil war in Lebanon, potentially civil war in Iran. I don't know that they're gonna get the civil war in Iran, but the civil war in Lebanon now is on the clock because the Lebanese government is saying, oh, please, Israel, give me more money. I'll sell out my own people. Just take our land, take our land. I don't know if it's because they're cowards. I mean, look at what Israel did.
That's southern
Lebanon. That's Lebanon. And Lebanon's leaders are going, good, yeah, give us more, Israel. Please burn and destroy and murder us more. Oh, Hezbollah's the bad guys for wanting to defend Lebanon. Go ahead, mainstream media in America, call Hezbollah terrorists. And then they say that Israel has a right to defend themselves. Well, do the Lebanese have a right to defend themselves? Or is that only for the Übermensch, the Israelis? Are only the Übermensch allowed to defend themselves? Or are the Lebanese allowed to defend their own home, their own land, their own nation, and their own gas fields? And everyone in America will lie to you, the politicians and the media, and they'll say, no, they're terrorists for defending their own homes. For defending their own families, they'll call them terrorists, when Israel literally does 100 times worse and is the aggressor and is taking their land. They'll say, poor Israel, they're the victims. Now do you see what monstrous liars are in mainstream media? Everyone at the New York Times, everyone at the Washington Post, everyone at CNN, everyone at ABC, NBC, and the list goes on.
CBS.
All saying for decade after decade how the Israelis, as they take more and more land, murder and slaughter, that they were the victims. They did it in self-defense. What a bunch of gargantuan liars. They lied to you to get you to hate Muslims. Now it's inconvenient that Israel is also murdering Christians now. So that's why they never talk about the Christians. Did you find out about the priests we told you about yesterday? Did anybody on cable news cover it? In any of the organizations I talked about? They murdered a Christian priest in a double tap. They bombed a Christian home. The priest goes in to help along with the Red Cross. They wait for the priest and the Red Cross to show up, and they bomb them again and murder them on purpose.
Because they're terrorists.
Because they're the biggest terrorist in the world. But our media does a switcheroo and says, hate the Muslims, hate the Muslims. Soon they'll be saying, hate the Christians. Oh no, that's inconvenient because the Christians are your piggy bank, right? You rob the Christians, hate the Muslims. That's how it works. And the getaway driver is every single anchor on cable news.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.